Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for June the 26th, 2020. Now, before I get started with Smackdown, we have to discuss the elephant in the room, the breaking news. A lot has gone down over the past few days, actually more than that when you take into account the accusations. It's been a very hectic week. Not a lot of positivity, unfortunately. There's been a COVID-19 outbreak within the world of WWE. Numerous people, at least 10, possibly a number far greater than that, have tested positive for coronavirus, COVID-19. The people that have gone out and publicly spoken about it are as follows: Renee Young, WWE announcer; Kayla Braxton, also WWE announcer; WWE producer Adam Pearce, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce; and WWE producer Jamie Noble. And also, a WWE extra revealed on Twitter that he too tested positive for COVID-19. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, COVID-19 can kiss my arse. Well, yeah, but unfortunately, the virus is still out there, and there are several issues with this whole situation. For the longest time, WWE was not testing people for COVID-19. WWE was doing a basic exam, taking temperature, asking questions. For a while, WWE was doing good about the social distancing. We saw Raw and Smackdown take place with no fans, and it was hard to watch at times, but it was safe, because you only had the wrestlers going in and performing, and the ring was being cleaned between matches. Then we started having fans, well, not really fans, but performance center trainees in the crowd for the shows. And they were keeping socially distant, but the problem with all this is that WWE had these people out there being socially distant. You had plexiglass set up around the ringside area, and then you just have everybody run into the ring. There was one segment where you had all these PC trainees get in the ring to break up two guys. I think it was Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, which basically defeats the entire purpose of social distancing. And then the other week, you had the Street Profits going into the audience when you're supposed to have this social distancing. Defeats the purpose of it. And then somebody had tested positive, and that led to WWE doing a lot of COVID-19 testing. And as it turns out, numerous people have tested positive. And it's affecting not just WWE, but AEW as well. Jon Moxley stayed home. Jon Moxley did not attend Dynamite this week because his wife, Renee Young, tested positive for the virus. He did not test positive, but of course he's being very careful, and he is staying in separate rooms at their home. Right now, that match with Brian Cage for Fyter Fest is very much up in the air because he could still end up getting the virus. It's a really bad situation, and again, people are talking about WWE playing with fire, and this was bound to happen. The cases in Florida are skyrocketing. They're at their highest number of new cases since the pandemic began. People are asking me, will WWE shut down? And my answer is highly unlikely. I do not think Vince McMahon will voluntarily shut down the WWE product. There's too much money on the line. WWE has the television contract. Same thing with AEW. Now, will they make any changes? Apparently, there's this controversy about the masks. We've heard conflicting stories. We've heard stories about Kevin Dunn apparently instructing the PC trainees to not wear masks. This week on Smackdown, which was taped earlier today, there were people wearing masks, but not everybody there outside of the talent in the ring were wearing masks. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says Kevin Dunn refused to let people wear face masks. The story behind that is that WWE doesn't like how it looks with people at ringside wearing masks. And now WWE pretty much has to do it. Although that mandate in Florida where people have to wear masks, apparently that does not apply to WWE because WWE is running in a private building. So whatever. WWE was planning to tape next Monday's Raw the same day today as SmackDown, but there were issues with that. Apparently, a lot of people tested positive for coronavirus, and WWE had to rewrite both shows, and apparently they're still going through with Raw tomorrow. And believe it or not, according to Dave Meltzer, Vince McMahon and WWE have been planning to do live events later this month, the end of July. Now, I don't know if that's going to change because of the current circumstances. Maybe this was something they were planning a few weeks ago, but according to Meltzer, WWE was looking into running in an 8,000-seat building in Lakeland, Florida, which is halfway between Orlando and Tampa, have social distancing, and this was apparently supposed to start at the end of July. Don't know if it's going to happen now. We'll see if the cases go down, but that tells you right there Vince's mindset. He wants to get back to normal. He wants to keep moving forward. He doesn't want to take 2 steps back. He wants to keep going forward regardless of what's going on. It's crazy. It's nuts. It is a circus. And unfortunately, people's lives could potentially be on the line. You know, Ric Flair being on Raw last week to me was crazy. You know, the guy is high risk for getting the virus, and you put him out there on TV exposed to a bunch of people. Why? Why does Ric Flair need to be there? I don't get it. Oofman Entertainment with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Oofman. He says, Kevin Dunn and WWE don't want fans to wear masks, yet they sell masks on WWE Shop. Well, of course, because they want to make money. They will find a way to make money, but you know, they have their own vision of how they want the television show to look. It's ridiculous. The whole thing, it just boggles my mind how crazy this has gotten. Mike D with a $5 super chat says, how many positive tests do you think it will take for WWE to actually consider shutting down for at least a little while? I hate to say it, I think even if Vince McMahon himself got COVID, I don't think he would shut the show down. I really don't. And I know this sounds terrible, but if somebody died from this, I don't think they would shut down. Remember, this is the same company that did not shut down their pay-per-view when Owen Hart died in the ring. As long as Vince is in charge, I think the show will go on. And SmackDown did go on tonight. There were some changes. We had this tribute to The Undertaker. We had the Boneyard match from WrestleMania replayed, which tells me that they needed to fill some time on this 2-hour show because of people testing positive for COVID. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, this tells me that Brock Lesnar is not coming back. Not necessarily. Brock likes money, and I think he'll come back for the big payday. one match, why not? It's a lot of money. There were several people noticeably absent on this week's SmackDown. Now, WWE originally announced Sheamus doing a toast to Jeff Hardy. That did not happen. However, WWE did announce during the show that next week Sheamus would do that toast. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Sheamus tested positive. Maybe WWE decided to hold off on that segment 1 week for whatever reason. I mean, Jeff Hardy was utilized on this show in a different way. We kicked off SmackDown with an Undertaker video package. Many of the top stars of SmackDown were there on the stage doing thank you Taker chants. You had Braun Strowman, the Universal Champion there, Jeff Hardy. You had the New Day, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross. So many of the top stars were present for SmackDown. Michael Cole was talking about the Boneyard match being the Undertaker's final match. So take that for what you will. And footage was shown from the 1990 Survivor Series, my birthday, November 22nd, when The Undertaker first debuted. We had the match shown, and then we had King Corbin cut a promo in the ring, talked about how now Undertaker is just a bag of bones. And Undertaker spent years kissing a certain family's ass. And Undertaker, as far as Corbin is concerned, was the founding member of the Kiss My Ass Club, which of course was Vince's club back in the day when he had wrestlers come out there and kiss his ass, like William Regal and Jim Ross and so on. Corbin called Undertaker a selfish son of a bitch that held athletes like himself down. And Corbin said he doesn't thank Taker. He says Taker sucks. This led to Jeff Hardy attacking Corbin, and then backstage, Hardy challenged Corbin to a match, which ended up being the main event of the show. And this whole thing with Corbin went down about 45 minutes into SmackDown. Now, cheap plug here, tomorrow night, Saturday night, if you're watching this on Saturday or if you're watching after Saturday, you missed it, the YouTube premiere of a new edition of No DQ&A video will be going up 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific Saturday. And of course, No DQ&A video will be available on demand. But check out the premiere of that. Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And Keith Johnson here with a little off topic here. I'll address this at the end of the video, Keith. He wants to know about Tessa Blanchard and her departure from Impact Wrestling. I will talk about that after I finish SmackDown. Somebody remind me in case I forget. Hopefully I don't, but I'll try to make sure to remember that. We had our first live match of the evening. Bayley and Sasha Banks came out on commentary. We had a women's fatal four-way match. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, and Lacey Evans. Winner faces the champ, Bayley, at the Extreme Rules, the Horror Show pay-per-view. Wow. The timing to call a pay-per-view the Horror Show. I think this entire year has been the horror year for everybody, and the wrestling business especially. Mike D with a $5 super chat says, even if Undertaker is done, he deserves the proper send-off with the fans, either at Survivor Series or WrestleMania. Again, I'm on the fence about it. We did talk about this on the No DQ review, number 101. Another cheap plug. You can check it out on demand if you missed it. I like how it ended with the Boneyard match, and watching it again, really nice way to close out The Undertaker, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel right with him not having a final proper match. We did talk about an idea on the No DQ review, Team Undertaker versus Team Styles. Survivor Series traditional match. That way the Undertaker can be limited and have himself protected with the other guys doing the work, and then Undertaker tags in, does his big moves. So there's an idea for Survivor Series. Hopefully there'll be a crowd, although, you want it to be safe. And we still don't know. I mean, again, they're talking about vaccines and a possible cure, maybe the end of the year. Survivor Series seems like at this point too early. So definitely we do not want to be too optimistic. I mean, there were some people thinking that this was going to be over by now, and clearly it's not. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, "Hey Baron, have you seen Jason X?" I've seen all the Friday the 13th, so though, to be totally honest with you, that's the bottom one for me if I had to rank them, followed by Jason Goes to Hell. And if we're counting the remake would be towards the bottom as well. Anyways, we're not talking about movies here. Let's get back to that women's title number 1 contenders match. Dana Brooke got hit with the women's right by Lacey Evans, but then Nikki Cross rolled up Lacey to pin her and secure a championship match with Bayley at Extreme Rules, the horror show. After the match, Alexa Bliss gave her tag team partner a hug. And yeah, I do not see a title change here. Bayley retains, pretty obvious. Another filler match for this horror show pay-per-view. We had an 8-man tag team match. Miz, John Morrison, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura against the New Day and the Lucha House Party. We had New Day along with Nakamura and Shin brawling to the back. And this led to the Lucha House Party having some fire. We had Lince Dorado with a springboard stunner to Morrison and then did a big splash to Morrison, or a Hurricane Rana to Morrison on the outside. And then Grand Metalik hit his springboard elbow to pin the former WWE champion, The Miz. Miz getting pinned by Grand Metalik. 2020 for you, everybody. New Day ran back out to celebrate. Lucha House Party maybe having their best showing ever as far as not looking like total jabronis. I mean, unfortunately, it was at The Miz's expense, but there you go. For those of you clamoring for a Lucha House Party push, looks like you're finally getting it. The legendary Mike B with a $3 super chat left one of those animated graphics of a cat, which I very much appreciate. Check out my personal channel, by the way, youtube.com/AaronRift. Lots of cat videos on there. We had Baron Corbin do a backstage promo vowing to teach Jeff Hardy a lesson in reality, and said that Jeff Hardy will retire just like The Undertaker. Jeff Hardy will rest in peace. We had Braun Strowman, the Universal Champion, come out for a promo. Talked about his first meeting with Bray Wyatt, how it was the type of fear that would make your hair stand up on the back of your neck. He said he realized that Bray Wyatt was the devil. And Bray had Strowman doing the devil's work, and Strowman admitted he liked it. He loved every second of it. He said he tried to lock that side of him away. But now he realizes he needs to face his fears. He wants to fight Bray on Bray's home turf, in the swamp. And Strowman vowed that when he's finished with Bray, he is going to feed Bray to the alligators in that swamp. I wonder if we'll get a cameo from Skinner in this match. That would be a nice little throwback. You know, they're going to fight in the Florida Everglades in the swamp why not have Steve Keirn, a.k.a. Skinner, make a cameo appearance? And then all of a sudden we had the Bray Wyatt laughing, and Strowman started doing the manacle laughing. This was actually a pretty good promo from Strowman. I did like it to set up the match, whatever they're doing. Apparently they're going to be doing something that is halfway between the Firefly Funhouse and the Boneyard match. It's going to be more athletic, like the Boneyard match, more in that style, but it'll have all the Bray Wyatt theatrics, and it'll probably be a lot like the House of Horrors match too. And Psycho Jet Black says, with a $2 super chat, thank you, a Swamp cinematic match? Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I wonder if somebody will actually get thrown in the swamp. Maybe it'll be the swamp of reincarnation, and Bray Wyatt will emerge as a different persona. But yeah, it looks like we're getting another cinematic match at Extreme Rules, hence the horror show tagline for this. We had our main event, which was Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin. We had a lot of the baby faces come out as lumberjacks for this match. We had Matt Riddle out there, by the way, and Drew Gulak, who was scheduled to face AJ Styles. That match was scrapped, so it makes you wonder. I mean, let's talk about the names that were not on this show. No Daniel Bryan, no Otis, no Mandy Rose, no Sonya Deville, no Shorty G, no Naomi. Jey Uso was there as one of the lumberjacks. Now, there was a report about at least two main roster WWE guys not wanting to appear until everybody surrounding the ring is wearing a mask. That could have been Daniel Bryan. We also know that Brie Bella is pregnant and Bryan might not feel comfortable doing any more shows. Kevin Owens went home. When the COVID positive test came out, Owens decided he's got to put his family first. And Bryan could have been the same way. AJ could have been the same way. We know AJ is very family oriented. So these people not being there doesn't necessarily mean that any of them tested positive for COVID. Could just be some of them wanted to play it safe for the sake of their families. But those are the names that I just mentioned, the regulars that did not appear on this week's show. So make of that what you will. And Johnny Boy with a $5 super chat says, who would you have Undertaker face at Survivor Series in his final match? You can pick anybody. Well, as I mentioned earlier, and as I mentioned on the No DQ review, I like the Team Styles versus Team Undertaker traditional Survivor Series match as Undertaker's send-off. I think that's more appealing than Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a one-on-one match. And no Psycho, no Undertaker versus Riff Darrison. No interest in that. Although maybe Undertaker could bury him once and for all. Anyways, back to the main event. As I mentioned, all the baby faces that were there for the show were surrounding the ring. Dana Brooke got a Corbin sucks chant going. And then we had Jeff Hardy pick up the victory with the Swanton Bomb. And after the match, Corbin attacked Hardy, which led to Big E coming in the ring, hitting the big ending. Strowman came in, hit the power slam, and then Matt Riddle, who was on this show despite the controversy, the accusations made towards him, Riddle had a moment here, hit the flying bro, and then Jeff Hardy did the Undertaker salute to wrap up this episode of SmackDown. And just to make it clear, Mohammed said no Sasha Banks. She actually was there. Her and Bayley did commentary for the women's match. They have not missed a show. To my knowledge, Bayley and Sasha have been on every Smackdown since the pandemic started, and their streak has continued with this one. So overall, Smackdown, considering the backstage turmoil and chaos, this was a fine show. I did not think it was a bad show by any means. I'm not going to do a letter grade this week because of the circumstances. WWE had to put something together at the last minute. It was fine. And yes, I have remembered Tessa Blanchard. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, who's your favorite Jeff, Meacham, Hardy, or Jarrett? Meacham. He's one of my closest friends, so obviously he would be my top Jeff. Not sure what you're trying to pull there, Psycho. Trying to get me to say something that would upset my very good friend, Jeff Meacham. So Tessa Blanchard, let go by Impact Wrestling. Now, apparently she only had a couple of weeks left on her contract, actually less than that. The report was that her contract was expiring on June 30th, the end of the month, before Slammiversary. Apparently, they had tried to get her to do the match at Slammiversary. She was advertised for the match at Slammiversary, but she reportedly did not send in promos to hype up the match, and Impact decided to cut their losses and let go of their reigning world champion. Tessa Blanchard has not appeared on the show since the pandemic started, and shortly before she won the world title, there was a lot of controversy about her accusations of bullying. It makes Impact look really bad. You know, this is Bush League. You're world champion. This person's contract expires before the pay-per-view. I mean, Impact should have just stripped her of the title when she said she wasn't going to work during the pandemic. Impact just looks really bad. You know, we had those accusations. The company still put the title on her. I don't know what else to say other than it's a very TNA situation. They may have changed the name, but TNA will never leave Impact Wrestling. They will always be TNA at heart. So you can add this to the list of TNA moments for this company. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. Now, will Tessa end up in another company? Would not shock me. Don't know about WWE. I think WWE is trying to stay away from controversy as much as possible. AEW, they could use her. I mean, AEW could use any top female talent to boost up the women's division. Tully Blanchard, Tessa's dad, is there. So AEW makes sense. If she ends up in AEW, I will not be surprised. Now, of course, there is the controversy surrounding Tessa, the accusations. Tony Khan, he's been very careful about making the correct PR decisions. So I don't know. I don't think it's a sure thing, but I would not be surprised if she does end up in AEW. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Tessa needs to apologize publicly to get work. Well, as far as the accusations go, she did apologize. Well, actually, no, she did not apologize. I think she denied the accusations to my recollection. I think she flat out denied them. I'll have to look it up. And, you know, her taking off because of the pandemic, you cannot blame that on her. I mean, she was the world champion, but at the same time, you know, you got to put one's health and safety first. What should have happened was Impact should have just stripped her of the title if she wasn't going to perform during the pandemic. And Ken, terminated by DQ with a $3.10 super chat, says, Tessa to NWA Power to apologize to Allison, LOL. I do not think that will happen. I don't think she's going to go to NWA. If Tessa ends up anywhere and who knows? She might just sit the rest of the pandemic out. But if Tessa shows up somewhere, it'll probably be AEW if I had to make a prediction on it. So that's my take on the whole Tessa Blanchard situation. And make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and rumors. There is a lot going on right now, and this could be another very busy weekend in wrestling. It's been busy. There's been a lot going on. Not much positivity, but hopefully we'll have some good news to report on. NoDQ.com will keep you posted on whatever developments there are. And I will be back for No DQ&A video, as I mentioned earlier. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for continuing to spread the word about NoDQ.com. I very much appreciate it from you guys. And stay safe. Stay positive. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, would you rather meet Tessa Blanchard or Mongo? I'd rather meet Mongo just to talk to him about all of his famous botches in wrestling. With that being said, have a great night, everyone. Take care, and I will see you next